Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has been a resounding success so far, and there's a lot of really positive stories to talk about with it. This story is, it's not necessarily a slight on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but maybe more of a general statement of where society is. So, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate might have actually gotten a school, or at least it appears to, based on some background research I've been able to do on this. It does look like this story is true. A school in the United States was shut down entirely last week on launch day for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but not so people could play it. Oh, no. In fact, because Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has a logo in it that made people think when someone put on the whiteboard, something about smashing. Basically, he drew the the Smash Bros. Logo on the whiteboard and said on Friday, get ready to, and then put the logo up. The school, or at least people in the school, mistaked it for crosshairs, thinking there was going to be a school shooting. A big, massive issue that's been sweeping the United States for years now, as we have the most school shootings in the entire world. Now, here is the letter that was sent out to students and parents on this. And again, this is, I'm just baffled at this. So here's what the letter says. Students and parents, this letter is to communicate to you the details of a rumored threat of a shooter on Friday, December 7th. First, I would communicate that the threat is nothing more than a rumor. Last Friday, there was a writing left on a classroom whiteboard that said December 7th, time to Super Smash Bros. Logo. There were some students who did not know what the symbol stood for and interpreted it as a threat of a school shooter on that day. As we would expect and encourage, this was reported to the office as a concern. The situation was investigated in conjunction with the, blacked out sheriff department. The symbol was found to be a symbol for a video game that is set to release on Friday, December 7th. The statement on the board was merely a statement of anticipation for the release of this new video game. From this, rumors began to spread and morph into bigger and bigger issues. Several offshoots of the rumors were reported to local police departments as well as our offices. Each of those reports were thoroughly investigated and traced back to the original statement about the video game release date. With all the information presented to us, it has been determined that there was never any actual threat, just misinterpretations of the message about the video game. We appreciate the reports of suspicion and would ask at any time any of our students or parents see anything out of the ordinary, please report to the proper authorities as was done in this situation. Oh, man. This is... Look, I can't fault the student for being excited for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I mean, it's a fantastic game. Why wouldn't they be excited about it? And honestly, as like someone who's a Smash Bros. Fan and a Nintendo fan, like, hey, December 7th, time to smash, sounds like a really cool thing to say, trying to be cool in front of your friends. But obviously the logo, could be misinterpreted for crosshairs, even though the crosshairs are not actually directly down the middle, but that's a different thing. I honestly think that the panic over this is just simply related to the sheer number of school shootings. And that people are, unfortunately in society in the United States, afraid to go to school every single day. The only reason my kids, my 8-year-old and my 5-year-old are not afraid to go to elementary school every day is because I don't make them aware that these school shootings are happening. I don't want them to feel like they need to be afraid every time they go to school. But as a parent, I can tell you right now, even in my little small town in Wisconsin, I'm going to be honest with you, I worry daily that when my kids get on that school bus, it might be the last time I see them. And as a parent, it's scary that I have to think that just for my kids to go to school. And yes, I put my kids in private schools, hopefully to, even make it less of a chance that, they get shot. But there's school shootings that happen at private schools as well. It just seems to be less frequent, but there's also less of them compared to public schools. So who really knows? Maybe statistically, I'm putting them in a more dangerous situation. Beats me. And yeah, schools in my area have really, really beefed up security with metal detectors and locks on all the doors. No one can even get into the building without being buzzed in, and all this stuff that used to not exist when I was a kid. You could literally just walk into the school, no one would stop you, no metal detectors. It was a lot less secure back in the day. Now, like when I enter my old high school, it's like it feels like I'm entering Fort Knox. I mean, you're like metal detectors and being, and this is at a Catholic school that's never even had an issue with this stuff, but they're just trying to make students and make parents feel like their kids are safe. But even then, in spite of all these measures that have happened at other schools, there has been school shootings. So there's really no surefire way that I can think of anyways to prevent the school shootings. I know, I don't want to dive into the politics and should we own guns and all this. Like that's an aside. I just think that this entire situation kind of sucks. And this school, which I did hear actually did close on the 7th, just because in spite of this letter, in spite of them knowing that this wasn't a real threat, there were still too many students and so many false stories going around about it that they just shut down the school on the 7th anyway and just didn't have school because they did not want to incite panic in people coming to school that day that still did not believe basically with the school's own looking into this. Clearly, of course, as a Nintendo fan, I laugh at this because, like, come on, this is pretty funny. And if something like this would have happened back when I was in school, there would have not even been a second thought. No one would have looked at that Smash Bros. Symbol when I was younger and thought, hey, someone's shooting up the school on December 7th. Like, that would have never even been a thought crossed my mind because there wasn't, like, a ton of school shootings back then. Sure, they happened infrequently, but they were infrequent, so no one would associate like December 7th time to, kind of sort of off-center crosshair logo with anything to do with that. But unfortunately, in today's world, as funny as this story is, it's just a sign of the times that students and parents don't feel, students don't feel safe at school. Parents don't feel safe sending their kids to school. Maybe there's been a rise in homeschooling because of all this stuff. I don't know. I think school is really important for kids, of course. I think it's important my kids go to school. I think it's important not just academically, but also socially. Like if I kept them in home and did homeschooling, one, not only do I not think that I would be, even with a tutor involved, would be as good at homeschooling as they can get from the actual education system, which I know debates about whether or not that is a good in the United States. I also think it's important for the social interactions. Even if there's bullying and other things, it's important my kids go through this stuff and experience it and try to learn to deal with it and let me help them deal with it than it is to just kind of bring them into the home and close them off from the world out of fear. I don't want my kids to live their life in fear, even if there's a zillion and one things to be afraid of in this world. I mean, my kids should be, it's winter in Wisconsin. My kids should be afraid every time we get in the damn car to drive anywhere because there are lots of idiots out on the roads that, have their four-wheel drive and think they can't slip and slide because of it. And they're the ones that always seem to be causing all the accidents because they drive like maniacs because they don't think the snow and ice can impact them because I got my truck with four-wheel drive. And again, not everyone's like this, of course. This is just a generalization based on my experience I've seen out on the road. There's obviously been, cars and trucks without four-wheel drive that got in accidents. There's been semis and all this stuff. But it's... I'm tired of the society that we're in. And again, I hate having a topic like this. This isn't usually something I would cover, but it's related to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And it's a sad world we live in where a school saw that and people panicked and they shut down anyways, even though they realize it's just about excitement over a video game. I hope the student, I haven't heard anything about the student that wrote it actually getting in trouble, because why should they be in trouble? It was a pretty innocent thing to put up on a whiteboard. But, unfortunately, that school also has to bear, that person's going to have to also bear the brunt of all of the people that didn't, all the parents and stuff that didn't want to, that wanted to have school and being afraid. That student, assuming the name probably got around town, is going to feel a lot of shame over that. On the plus side, I guess you could argue, well, the people who wanted to play Smash Bros. Got the whole day to play it, but, man... I don't, as a parent, if my kid wrote that on the whiteboard and got in trouble for it, I would just be like, really? My kid won't even be in trouble for it. But unfortunately, as a parent, I try to have to shield them from everyone else that's mad at my kid. So, I don't know. You guys just let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. This is just a very, very interesting story. I got to give a shout out to Review Tech USA, who I initially discovered the story through, and then it originated on Reddit, and then I dug some more into the comments and some other things to figure out what town and all this stuff happened in. I don't really want to give those exact details because I don't really want to draw attention to a place that is trying to not have the outside world, intervene in what happened here. And it's hard to get mad at the school in this situation. Hard to get mad at really anyone here. I don't know that anyone really did anything wrong in both the kid putting it on the whiteboard and the reaction to it. There's some serious issues in my home country that I really hope at some point we figure out how to solve and actually do something about it. Anyways, I'm Nathaniel Rovagents from Nintendo Prime, and if you like this video, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Speaking of Smash, if you would like to win a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Nintendo Switch bundle, we have a Gleam.io link down in the description to enter it for a free giveaway. The only requirement is that you subscribe to the channel. When we hit 50,000 subscribers, we will be giving that bad boy away, and then we'll get back into monthly giveaways after that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and it's time for me to go back and play some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'll catch you guys later.